Welcome to the Adelaide Cottage podcast. My name is Shauna, and I'm coming to you from, a suburb of Buffalo, New York, where I was born and raised, and I live with my husband and two small boys. It has been a while, and I feel like it is harder to get back into podcasting once I take a break for a month, I think it's been. I think my New Year's resolution is to try to podcast a little bit more frequently, or even do shorter ones, whenever I get the time. But anyway, you can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Adelaide Cottage, and there's also a group in the groups tab on Ravelry where you can join in for knit-alongs and episode chatter and all of that. So please feel free to join. Right now, there's an Instagram giveaway going on for a 2,000 follower giveaway. I'm giving away a skein of hedgerow yarns, which I have and I'm making socks out of, which I'm going to show you very soon. But this is it, and it's her Twinkly Toes sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% silver stellina, 400 meters, 100 grams, and it's the Twinkly Lights colorway, and I am in love with this. This was dyed special for Danny of Little Bobbin's Christmas Eve cast-on Cal, as well as there was also a pattern and a project bag combination that went with the yarn. The pattern was Vintage Fairy Light Socks by Helen of Curious Handmade. And I missed the original sale of those. There were only a limited quantity of kits for the pattern yarn and project bag. But Hedgerow Yarns offered this again. I think it's just a little bit different than the original. But she offered it again, and I was so excited that I grabbed 2 skeins of it, one for a giveaway and one for myself. So right now is the Instagram giveaway, and on the next episode, we are very close to having about 2,000 YouTube subscribers for my podcast, which is unbelievable to me. I think it's so wonderful that so many of you tune in and watch my podcast. And I'd like to celebrate that by giving away something else. So the next time I will have another giveaway to announce. At the end of this episode, I will announce the winners for the Stitching for a Cause giveaway, which started quite some time ago. Originally, I think it was a 3-month knit-along, and I turned it into 6, I believe, where you knit something for someone with cancer or a support person in the cancer ribbon color of their type of cancer. So it's been really, really lovely to see all of those finished objects in the thread in the Ravelry group. And we have 4 winners, so I'll announce those at the end, just in case you're not interested in watching that part. So, what have you been doing? I have been busy. Some of you might have noticed I put the Etsy shop on vacation mode, in vacation mode. I also have an Etsy shop for those of you who are new to the podcast, where I sell my hand-dyed yarns and project bags and stitch markers and progress keepers and things like that. So it's lots of fun. But I decided I wanted just a little bit of time to finish up a few whips, do a few things for my family and for my boys. I want to knit them socks and sew them pajama pants and pillowcases, and it was just not possible to get all of those things done while still keeping the shop stocked up. So I'm taking about, I think, a month off, the month of January, and then February I will return with all new inventory. I am going to go through my fabric and make lots of project bags just to kind of dwindle down on my stash. I have a lot of fabric. And then I'm going to focus mostly on dyeing yarn, because it's something that I enjoy a lot more. I enjoy making project bags, of course, but I really, really, really love dyeing yarn, and it's easier on my neck to do that rather than sewing and staring down at the machine and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to show you what I have on my needles. I have quite a few things going on and I'm feeling overwhelmed, like I'm never going to finish anything. I think yesterday I worked on 5 different projects. I just kept flip-flopping. And it was really nice because depending on what mood I'm in, I grab a project that matches it. So if I don't feel like thinking, I grab my my Scrappy Granny Stripe blanket that I just cast on because I had to. All the cool kids were doing it. And if I feel like thinking, I'll work on my cross-stitch project that I'm doing or the lace on my shawl. So there's pros and cons. The con is things don't get finished as quickly because you're just doing a little bit at a time on each different project. So that's that. I am drinking plain old Lipton tea, which is, out of all the teas I've ever had in my life, this is my favorite. And it's so basic and so inexpensive. I brought the box in here just to show you, for those of you who might not have it where you live. But it's the kind of tea that we use here, at least my mom used, to make fresh brewed iced tea. And I just love it. And I think it's because that's what I was raised drinking. My mom and I would also always have a cup of this tea before bed, and it was just the best. And I associate that with good memories with her. And I think that's why I love it so much. My favorite thing to drink is sweet tea, but it can't be too sweet. But using, this fresh brewed tea, that's my favorite. So that's what I'm drinking. Before I get into projects, I wanted to show you my featherweight cardigan by Hannah Fettig. This was my Rhinebeck sweater for this past year in Rhinebeck, and some of you might already know, I finished it at the very last minute in Rhinebeck, the night before, the first Rhinebeck festival day. I was up till wee hours of the night, binding it off, finishing up the knitting and binding it off. I bound it off too tightly because I was exhausted, and it's also my first sweater that I ever knit. So I didn't really know that you're supposed to bind off I didn't know what loose bind off really meant. Anyway, it was so tight that it was pulling the bottom front ribbing. It was basically pulling upwards, so it looked like I'll show you, it'll be easier to show you. But then, after we got home, we washed it, and my husband laid it out to dry, and my cats got a hold of it and put a humongous hole in the center of the back of it. I showed it on the last episode. I think that's the cover photo for the episode of the huge hole. And I attempted to fix it. This is honestly the best I could have done. There it is there. It's got a bad scar, you guys. But the yarn was frayed. Not only was it chewed, but they ate some of it from side to side. So I couldn't just pick up the stitches and go through because there were areas from side to side that were frayed, like chewed, into pieces. So I had to put a couple of knots in, magic knots, and this is the best it's gonna be. Oh my gosh. So this is an indoor sweater only now. But I also ripped out the binding, or when I bound off, I ripped out those stitches, put them back on my needles from down here all the way around the collar and down to the other side, because what it was doing is this part was lifting up. So it looked like it was much longer in the back. I still have to weave in the ends there, but it'll be a nice kick around sweater for around the house. I learned my lesson. Don't leave my hand knits near my cats. seriously, I don't know. That was just a frustrating event that happened to me. But I have lots of stash enhancement because it's been like a month and Christmas happened and I received so many beautiful things from family and friends and things that I purchased on my own. And I'm really trying to support other indie dyers and bag makers and all of that. So whenever I had some extra money, you know, from Etsy income or whatever, I would try to support my fellow makers. So the first thing I'm going to show you is in my new chicken boots bag. I love it! Oh my gosh. What attracted me to this bag at first was its size. It's large. This is for the Find Your Fade shawl, if you haven't guessed. But it fits all the yarn for that in here. I still have a few in skein forms, but the first two colors I caked up and have in there as well. But I love this front pocket. You can't get to it from the outside, so nothing can fall out of it. You have to get to it from the inside. It's just really, really nicely made. And it has the handle, which I love. You can just carry it around like that, and it's not, you know. But yeah, the pocket for that front is on the inside here, so nothing really falls out of it on you. So I really like that. So my Finding Your Fade, I was having a really hard time finding my fade. I was getting super anxious about the whole idea. I had 25 or so skeins of yarn laid out across our kitchen island because I really wasn't sure what color combos I wanted. Usually, I mentioned before, I'm a mauve taupe, pink, you know, purpley color combo girl. But I have yarns that are all different colors. So when Jason got home from work the one night, I'm standing there looking at all these yarns and I have different combinations laid out. And he could see that I was like physically feeling anxious about this. Like I was freaking out. I don't know why. Only knitters would understand. And he's like, okay, step aside. I will find your fade. You know, after I had told him what it's supposed to do, like one color is supposed to melt into the other. So you're supposed to look for, you know, a skein that has some kind of, you know, hue of the color before it in it. So I went in the living room and he called me back like a minute later and he goes, here's your fade. So he found a really beautiful combination. I was very proud of him. He goes, you know, you shouldn't put so much thought into it. Just go with it. So I'm trying to learn from him from a non-knitter's point of view. I don't know. It was fun. The process was fun, I think, to do this. But so I started with this this beautiful 20 grain mini skein, and I forgot what kind of yarn it is. I'm sorry. If I remember, I'll put it in the show notes. But it's a pretty maroon color. And then the second one is Dragonfly Fibers in the Pixie Base in the Flannel Pajamas colorway. And here is the cake. So you can kind of see that there's a little bit of maroon in this one. However, I wanted the fade to be more gradual. I didn't want to see these stripes. I'm not very big with geometric stripy patterns. That's just my preference for garments that I wear. But I'm going to keep going with it because I think the next one will fade a little bit better. He picked the leftover yarn from my featherweight cardigan. This is Madeline Tosh in the Opaline colorway. So this will go, because there's some light purples in there, you can see. And then after that, I'm not caking these yet because I'm not entirely positive, but I have a Hedgehog Fibers and Salty Tails, which is so pretty. And then we have Hedgehog Fibers in Bramble, which I've been hoarding these 2 skeins because I love them so much. And then from there, I have a few different options. So for now, I think these 2 will be after. Yeah. So I went to knit night with my knitting peeps that I go to Rhinebeck with. One of them is my cousin, Dana. Tara of Spin Monkeys and Rachel, who is Rachel Fendig on Ravelry and Instagram. They all have very lovely feeds. If you want to follow their Instagram pages, they knit really lovely things. And Tara of Spin Monkeys has a really nice Etsy shop where she sells hand-dyed yarns. Some of them are even naturally dyed from avocados and things like that. But I love them all so much, and I love when we get together to knit. It's really special. So we got together to talk about our future Rhinebeck trip and just have some coffee and knit, and we all had our Finding Your Fade shawls out, and my gauge was so loose compared to theirs. I started with the US size 4, and my gauge is just way too loose. I think I'm just a loose knitter. Even for socks, I have to knit with size 0s. So I ripped out the little bit that I had. At the time, I was only like right there. So I ripped it out and went to size 3s, and now it's perfect. So size 3 it is. So that's my Finding Your Fade, or Find Your Fade shawl. I love this bag. I love it so much. I'd like to get one of the Fringe Supply Co. field bags too. That's on my wish list. Next, I will show you my shawl. I'm going to make sure we're still recording. Yes. Okay. This is my Aisling shawl. I feel like it's been on the needles forever. But I made quite a dent in it since last time I saw you, and I'm almost at the border where I can start the border. So this is Aisling by Justina. I should know this by now. Justina Lorkowska. For those of you who haven't seen it before, you can look at my wrinkly pattern. But it's this really beautiful, there's little eyelets in each panel there, and it's separated by garter stitch, a few rows of garter stitch, and then a beautiful lace border. So for the main body, where the eyelets are, I'm using Woolen Vine I Am No Bird, which is my favorite colorway ever. I tell you every time. Once I caught one of her recent updates and bought another skein just to have it in my stash. That's how much I love it. This is like my color to a T. So this is what it looks like so far. I'm hoping that this stops rolling with blocking at the bottom here, because it's rolling really badly. But I got quite a bit done, and I love it. So this is the Woolen Vine I Am No Bird, and then the garter stripes in between are done with my Adelaide Cottage yarn in the light roast colorway. And then I have a lovely little peppermint donut progress keeper on there from Joanna, who's the gnome knitter. She has an Etsy shop, but right now she's on a little break while she awaits her new baby girl. But I love her. I love her creations. Here comes my toddler.
Mama,
what, babe?
I need to go bathroom right in my pants.
Okay, go ahead, sweetheart. He has to announce.
My school.
Okay, he has to announce that he has to go to the bathroom, but he knows how, but I need to know everything. So, yeah, we're almost there. I just have to finish up the last panel and then go on to the border, which is very exciting. And the border will be done in this light roast colorway. Yeah, and I'm using Chai-Goos. These are my favorite in US size 4. And this one, this I Am No Bird, has silver stellina in it, which is so lovely. And then my new skein has gold stellina, so it's a little something different. And my Alex Collins Designs bag, which is another one of my favorites. These are my vintage fairy light socks. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I have been struggling with sock knitting. I have always used a US size 1. I have tried DPNs, which are very fiddly for my hands because I don't have full sensation in my fingers. I've tried magic loop, and I've tried the 9-inch circular technique. I knit a Christmas sock, which I forgot to bring down here with me, with 9-inch circulars. Yes?
My underwear is a little bit wet.
Okay. Hold on, okay? Okay. And they have all come out massively too big for my foot. I decided with these that I'm never messing up a sock again. You put so much time and these little tiny stitches into these socks, and they're way too big. It was just getting really frustrating for me. I'm like, why can't I knit a stinking sock? I can knit a sweater, I can knit a shawl with lace, I can knit socks, and I really want to be a sock knitter. It looks so much fun, and I have so much sock yarn that I can use. So for these, I decided to use US size 0 DPNs, the Zings. Hold on one second. So I decided to use US size 0 on Zings DPNs and knit these wonderful vintage fairy light socks by Helen Stewart, who is Curious Handmade on Instagram and Ravelry too, I believe. So these were my Christmas Eve cast on. I joined the Cal with Danny of Little Bobbins. That was so fun, just to know that everybody was casting something new on that night. And I really looked forward to it, and I made a really cute Christmassy bag, project bag for it. So I'm knitting these top down with a standard heel flap and gusset. I'm learning the sock lingo, so please forgive me if it's not correct. Let's see where I can put this. And this is what I have done so far. And they are the perfect size. I cast on 60 stitches on a US size 0 DPNs. So also, my gauge is different. Even if it's the same needle size, my gauge is different when I use magic loop compared to DPNs. My gauge is more loose with DPNs, I think, because I can't hold them as tightly. I don't really know. But, so I'm just trying to figure out that magic number, and I think I found it. 60 stitches, US size 0 on DPNs. So it's just beautiful. This is like a twisted rib cuff, and then this beautiful pattern that looks like vintage fairy lights going down, and then there's this beautiful ribbing that goes down along the foot. And I think I have a couple more inches until I do the toe decreases. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I still have to do the second sock. I feel like this took forever, but it's a really nice project to have. Once you pass this section here, this is all very simple, mindless knitting, I think. Then I have this cute Mexican wedding cake cookie progress keeper from the Gnome Knitter again. And I just love that. My mom and I used to make these together at Christmas time. So yeah, we're almost done with sock 1. This is the skein of yarn that I bought a second of to give away, the Hedgerow yarns and the Twinkly Lights colorway. And it has some silver stellina in it. So very, very fun. And it fits beautifully so far. So I'm really excited after all of that. I think I made 4 4 single socks that were way too big for me, and I can't wear them. So this is exciting. It's like a milestone. So these will be for me, especially since it's the first pair that will fit. Then in this lovely project bag by my friend Emily, who is Just Add Wool on Instagram, one of my good friends made me this project bag, and I am keeping in it my new granny striped Scrappy blanket. Now I have a crochet blanket on the hook right now already, actually for a really long time, like years, but I wanted to jump on this bandwagon as well. So I went ahead and purchased, we were in Rochester, New York, and I went to a local yarn shop there and found this Addy Premium crochet hook made of olive wood, I believe. Yes, olive wood. And I just really like the look of it. This is the package. So it's, okay, it's an F hook. And this is what it looks like. It's just a really pretty wooden, I like these rustic wooden needles and hooks. Okay, you don't have to, honey. So I chained 317 stitches. I measured basically the length of the couch, and I really want it to fit, to lay over that nicely and be able to fit 2 people underneath it. I wanted a nice big cozy warm woolly Scrappy blanket. So I chained 317 stitches and then started the second row, and it was like curling on me. And I was like, oh no, did I do something wrong? So then way at the bottom of the pattern, I used the Attic 24 pattern. It's a blog post. But if you go on my Ravelry project page, I linked to it for you. And there was also a quick YouTube tutorial I watched just to get me started. But long story short, I chained them way too tight, so I had to rip it out and then chain those again. And that first row is painful. That's a lot of stitches. But I'm on to the second row. And so far, it's all yarns that I've dyed. They're all Adelaide Cottage yarns. But as we get through, it's really big. As we get through my magic ball, they're not all Adelaide Cottage. Just to give you an idea of size. But I did this all last night, so it's going to be a quick, it's very addicting. I did not want to stop crocheting on it. So since I had to rip it out, my magic ball doesn't look quite like a cake anymore, because I wound over it the other way, but just to give you an idea of some of the minis I put in here. This is a really nice project to use scrap yarn that you don't know what to do with. Like minis that are too small for a mitered square blanket. I know in my mitered square Scrappy blanket, I need at least like 4 to 5 grams of yarn, but you can use 1 gram, you can use 2, 3, whatever you want. You can use 20. It doesn't really matter. I think what I like about this is how random it's going to be and fun, you know? So I'm excited about that project. This will be a nice one to bring camping with me, because we're probably going to be going camping almost every weekend. We bought a camper last year. It was kind of late in the summer, so we only got to use it a couple times, but it's one of our favorite things to do. And when my husband was young, he camped with his parents and siblings a lot, and he said out of all the vacations they ever took, his camping trips were what the memories he has. Like, he hasn't forgotten any of it. And he grew up to be an outdoorsman. He loves hunting. He loves being in the woods. It's one of the most peaceful places for him to be. And I have to agree. I'm the same way. And in the future, we'd like to have more of that nature around us. So we want our boys to experience that. And I want it to be like a tradition for us, something, keeps us close as a family, and we just spend time together outside. And there's just something about falling asleep, outside and hearing, crickets and seeing the stars so clearly at night. Campfires and s'mores and hikes in the woods, and it's just wonderful. And I always bring my knitting and my crochet, so that's something we love to do. Is that all of my projects? I feel like there were more. Oh, I have sewing stuff going on. I'm going to talk about sewing next time because I'll have more for you to see next time. I have a lot of fabric and patterns, to show you right now, but I think I'm going to wait so that you actually can see the start to some of those projects. I think it'll be more exciting. So look forward to a little sewing segment at the end of the next episode, as well as a giveaway. I wanted to show you this too, and then I'll go into stash enhancement. My cousin Dana and I do a little bag swap every year at Christmas, and when we were in Rhinebeck, I wanted to bring home an Angora bunny so badly because, excuse me, Andy of Andre Sue Knits is a huge enabler and always photographs and videotapes her little Buddha bunny, and I need one in my life. So I really wanted to come home with one, but I didn't. But look what she made me. I put it on Instagram, but oh my goodness, you guys. It's a little bunny bag. And won't this be so sweet for an Easter project? And then the inside is lined, oh, look at this little tail. The inside is lined with carrots. And it's so big and roomy, it opens up nicely. She's so talented, and it's all quilted inside too. If you can see that. And then she included a bunch of goodies inside, a really sweet coffee cup, a knitting-related coffee cup, some cards to include in my orders from customers that has my yarn in the background, and a picture of me holding a bunny on the back at Rhinebeck, some teas and other little goodies. So thank you, Dana. You are so talented. Oh, I just love this. Okay, I'm going to show you, let me make sure I didn't miss anything before I go to stash enhancement. The quilt-along /sew-along that I'm co-hosting with Sarah of Love Sock Wool and Isabel of Fluffy Fibers podcasts. I am ending my, we each have a thread in our Ravelry groups. I'm ending mine on January 31st. So make sure to get your finished object posted in there. There will be 2 winners. Each winner will be able to pick out their own charm pack that I'm hoping to have delivered directly to you. So once you win, I'll contact you with the link to go to one of the fabric shops that I prefer, and you can pick out your own charm pack, and then I will get it sent to you. So that was a lot of fun. Let's see what we have here. Oh, I finished another shawl, but I can't show it to you because I made it and gave it away in between my podcast episodes. So I made a brickless shawl, and I'm going to try to insert a picture of it here. It was a very quick knit. It has some areas where you have to bind off within the pattern to kind of give it a zigzag edge. And there were sections of ribbing and lace and garter. It was very fun to knit. So if you're looking for something quick, it takes worsted weight yarn, and I used Knit Picks, was it Wool of the Andes Tweed, in the Indigo Heather colorway. So I think I started that. It's on my project page. I think it took a week to cast on and bind off. And it turned out really nice. I also knit a hat for Evan, my son, since we last spoke. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. And this, I think I just used Lion Brand yarn. We were at Joann Fabrics, and I was like, Evan, do you want a hat? You know, I'll make you a new hat. And so he picked this. It has quite a bit of wool in it. He said he wanted a candy cane hat, so he picked this colorway. But this is the Vermonter pattern. I've made 3 of them in the past. This is actually the first thing I've ever knit. When I was in the hospital, I knit one for my husband, one for Aiden, and one for Evan, my 2 boys. And Evan grew out of his, so we needed a bigger one, but it turned out really nice, I think, and it took a day and a half. And then I made a big old pom-pom for the top. So I've done that. I also made a quilt for my son's 3rd grade teacher as a Christmas gift. So all of the children in his class drew a picture in art class, and the school just started a new fundraiser where it's kind of like a glorified Shutterfly, where you can get photo gifts and things, but most of the money goes to the school. So it's a really great way to raise money. So the kids each drew a picture. We submitted them to this company, and they offered quilt squares, a 10 by 10 inch quilt square printed on cotton. And I had suggested to the class parent, I'd be more than happy if all the parents want to purchase a quilt square. I'd be happy to put a quilt together for the teacher. She doesn't have any children of her own, and she loves her students like they're her own, and I thought that she would really like it. So the parents thought it was a great idea. We got a discount since we were buying so many, and I put this quilt together for her, and she loved it. Aiden said that she was walking around the school just showing it to everybody. So I'm going to insert a picture of that here as well. The next episode, part of the giveaway, is going to be Mina Phillips, who is the Knitting Expat podcast and Instagram. She has graciously offered one of you lovely viewers a copy of her newest shawl pattern, which is called Snow Day. It was inspired by her move from Bahrain to the U.S. She's in New York City now. So seeing snowfall was a very new experience for her, and she used that inspiration to create a beautiful shawl, which I'll insert a picture of. And she told me that I can give a copy away. So as a part of my 2,000 subscriber giveaway, which I'll explain more on the next episode, episode 23 it will be, part of the prize will be that, okay? So that's awesome. Thank you, Mina. Okay, so I'm going to show you my stash enhancement and then be the Stitching for a Cause giveaway prizes. So this past Christmas, I became obsessed with the idea of collecting Christmas yarns. I wanted all the Christmas yarns, you guys. Even though I dye yarn and I can easily put some Christmas colors together, I just had so much fun buying other people's Christmas yarns. So I'm definitely going to offer more in the shop next year, because I think they'll be really fun to dye. So I'm just going to show you some of the ones that I got that I'm hoarding for next Christmas. Well, these aren't indie-dyed, but I got one of the Cascade Yarn Heritage prints. And this is color number 26. Yeah, they don't have names, but you can kind of see how it knits up. Self-striping. I was able to track down through stashes on Ravelry some of this Red Heart, Heart and Soul Christmas colorway. Color number 3973. So I got two of them. Two of those. I got Kristen from Vine Yarns and the Yarngasm podcast, and I did a little swap, and this is what she included in mine. It's Deck the Halls on her blitzed base. So gorgeous. This will be a shawl next year for sure. I love it. She is by far one of my top 3 favorite indie dyers. And I just love her. She's so sweet and wonderful. And then from Molly of a Homespun House, I got these 2 Christmas yarns. This one here is Festival of Lights on the Gold Stellina fingering base. And this is Jingleberry on Plump Merino fingering. I should do a Find Your Fade Christmas shawl, shouldn't I? Okay, and then during a Vine update, I told you my backup skein of I Am No Bird, and this has gold stellina inside. Oh gosh, I love it. Let's see. Susan B. Anderson, I wanted to support her new business so very much. I just adore her. I adore her podcast. I adore her designs and all of the teaching that she does. And I was so excited when I saw that she has Barrett Wool Co. now. So I picked up the worsted weight, 100% American wool. And this is the Field colorway. I got 3 skeins of it, and I think I'm going to make a prairie shawl, which is one of her designs, out of this. I think it would be really nice to make her design with her yarn. I picked up one of these. This is Opal. The color is Farbe Party. I'll show you the numbers just in case but it's a really pretty mauve color. I'll probably make socks out of that. And then for Christmas, my husband and boys got me this Baracco socks in color 1432, which has really pretty purples and fuchsias, light brown, dark brown. And then Tara of Spin Monkeys and I did a yarn swap, and I fell in love with this skein that she dyed. How pretty is that? I love subtle speckles. I'm in love with this. I don't know what to do with it. I want to hoard it, but I also want to wear it. Maybe a hat? This is her Delaware sock, which I love because we live in the same area, and Delaware is a street that was always very close to where I lived my whole entire life. So I love that her bases are named after Buffalo streets and things. So it's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and the color is Wrens and Sparrows. So pretty. I have more, you guys. Bear with me, I'm almost done. Let's get it out so I don't have to keep bending out of the screen. I apologize for that. Okay. I picked this up from Vivid Yarn Studio, Julia, who is the indie dyer. This is Peppermint Bark. So pretty. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Fingering weight, 463 yards. And when I went to Rochester, to that local yarn shop, and picked up the crochet hook, I also picked up a couple skeins of Malabrigo yarn. this is the, I want to say Restita base, and the colorway is glitter. But it's a really pretty pecan colorway, like a dark pecan. Pure merino wool, slightly felted, 310 yards, 100 grams. Yeah, glitter is the colorway. And then I also got a really pretty red skein as well when I was there, but I already caked it up. And it's in a project bag somewhere. And then I showed you guys this folio the last time that I purchased, but I got another skein of it, or a ball of it there. It's color 4516. And then I also picked this up to go with it. And it has gold Selena inside. Isn't that pretty? So this is 65% superfine alpaca, 25% rayon, 8% acrylic, and 2% other fiber. And this one is 65% superfine alpaca and 35% rayon. So the Luxe just has a few other not so natural ingredients, but that's okay. Let's see, I think we're done. Except for Christmas, my lovely boys and husband purchased me this Knitter's Pride knitting needle set of interchangeables. These are the rosewood. This is the rosewood set. Let's see if I can get closer. Look how pretty those are. And they have the gold tips, and then it's like a maroonish gold cables. So I've already used them, and they're fantastic. I love them. I would say the points on them are sharp. I would put them between Chaigu being the sharpest that I own, then these, and then Carbons. I feel like they're right in the middle of Carbons and Chaigus. So I was very excited to receive these. And then another random Christmas present from my mother-in-law, which I thought would be perfect when we go to Rhinebeck, or even for my New York City travels, because I go there every 6 months for a checkup. They got me this, and it's a rolling carry-on with my name and polka dots, and the inside has teal with all kinds of pockets. So I thought it would be really nice to bring to Rhinebeck and just keep it, at the house we stay at, and put all of my new things in there that I purchase. So yeah, that's my toddler's trying to get in here again. That's all I have for right now. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm hoping to podcast again in 2 weeks. I think that's my goal. I'm going to try to do that, just so it's not so overwhelming and I don't have a bazillion things to show you each time. I don't know, I just feel bad, if my kids are making noise in the background, but I don't mind. I just hope that you don't. So now I'm going to talk about the Stitching for a Cause giveaway prizes. So if you're not interested in listening to that, I will see you next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And for those of you sticking around, I will let you know who the winners are. Okay, so there were 32 entries. I subtracted the first post, which was mine. And from there, I went to randomnumbergenerator.com or .org, I forgot what it is. But I'll post the pictures of the winning numbers on the thread, just so that you can see. So there were 32 entries, so I put in 1 through 32. And the first winner is post number 6, who is DG White, who's Denise in Washington. Congratulations, you won this. I put everything in bags so I wouldn't forget. This lovely collection of Norwegian chocolates. These labels for handmade things from Green Deep. You won a mini skein, a Downton Abbey tea sampler kit, and stitch markers. So congratulations, all of you winners. Please, I'm going to announce the other 3, but all of you winners, please contact me via Ravelry message with your full name and address where you would like this sent. You have until the 29th. If I don't hear from you by the 29th of January, I'll redraw another winner. Just to be fair, I don't want it to linger for too long once the contest ends. The second winner is post number 31, who is LMECOLL, who is Linda from Pennsylvania. Congratulations, you won this beautiful skein of Norwegian yarn and these gift tags from Grain Deep and stitch markers. The third winner is post number 12, who is Lucy Bowen, Lucy from England. You won the Interpretations knitting book and the Green Deep labels and stitch markers. Evan, I'll be right out, sweetie. Okay, I'll be right out, honey bunny. I'm not a honey bunny, he said. You're my honey bunny. You're my honey bunny. And the fourth winner is post number 15, who is Mitt from Norway, M-I-T-T. And you won the tea. So this is black vanilla chai tea, and you got a Knitter's Pride gauge ruler and gift labels and the tea theme stitch markers that I put together. So congratulations, all of you. That was so fun. I wish I could give all of you a prize because this was such a meaningful knit/crochet along. I wish I could give something to all of you. But it was really, really fun doing this with you. And so yes, please contact me by the 29th. Otherwise, I'm going to draw other winners. And I'd really love for you to receive your prizes. So Adelaide Cottage on Ravelry, send me a personal message and give me your contact info. So that's it for today, y'all. That was a lot, I know. But I hope that you enjoyed seeing what I'm working on. I hope all of you stay well. I have a trip to New York City Tuesday morning for a checkup and an MRI to check on this nasty little tumor in my spinal cord. They're just going to make sure there's no more tumor growth. So I'm just praying for good results. And yeah, so we'll see you next time. Bye.